Thank you, Amel. Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the Wednesday's Regional News. A Panama judge yesterday called two former presidents as well as a slate of other high-profile figures to trial over money laundering related to the Odebrecht bribery probe, a sweeping corruption investigation which has rippled across Latin America. The country's state attorney officer said a judge had summoned 36 people to trial over money laundering charges, including 6 former ministers, former officials, business people, and other individuals. The trial will begin in August 2023, it said. Ricardo Martinelli, Panama's president from 2009 to 2014, had been summoned along with his 2 sons, Ricardo and Luis, the office said. The sons were sentenced in May to 3 years in prison by U.S. court for helping launder millions of dollars in bribe payments made by Brazilian construction firm Odebrecht. The judge also summoned Martinelli's successor and vice president, Juan Carlos Varela, who would serve as president until 2019. Both have denied committing crimes. Martinelli's plans to run for presidency again in 2024. A spokesman for the Martinelli said on Tuesday that the call to stand trial violated legal conditions established after Martinelli was extradited from the United States in 2018. He has been acquitted twice on accusation of spying. Martinelli is also innocent in relation to the Odebrecht probe and its subject of an attack for his planned presidential campaign, a spokesman said. Martinelli has also faced investigation for allegedly diverting public funds to buy a media outlet. Odebrecht and its parent company Braskem, Brazil's largest petrochemical company, agreed in 2016 to pay $3.5 billion to settle bribery-related charges brought by the United States, Brazilian, and the Swiss regulators. The scandal over bribe for a public works contract spread to other countries where Odebrecht did business, including Peru, Mexico, Argentina, and Colombia. We now bring you news from Trinidad and Tobago. The principal of Tranquility Government Secondary School in Port of Spain was dragged to the ground as she attempted to break up a brawl among female students at the school. The pupils involved in the fight had been suspended, the Education Minister confirmed on Tuesday. President of the National Parent-Teacher Association, Kevin David, said that the school's principal did not sustain injuries. Video clippings of the violent altercation have been circulating on social media. In one of the videos seemingly taken in the school's hallway, several female pupils have been seen hitting, kicking and throwing punches at another female pupil while a crowd of their schoolmates looked on. A man in a red shirt tried to part the fight, but to no avail. The majority of the pupils looking on screamed and laughed. The brawl takes a turn for the worse when the school's principal tries to intervene by grabbing one of the girls to pull her away from the other. However, the other pupil had a tight grip on the girl's hair and dragged her to the ground, resulting in the principal, who was still holding on the girls, losing her balance and also falling. The principal's report with full detail is expected today, and that will determine the exact nature of discipline to be meted out on each student identified as being directly involved in the incident. The Ministry of Education will continue to offer support, counseling, and guidance to all students who required it, but the safety of our teachers, administrators, and students are being compromised by a minority of students who continued by their actions to disrupt some schools and bring the education system to a disrepute. Due to an escalation in the school violence when schools fully reopened in April this year, the Ministry of Education turned to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service for help in conducting patrols inside and outside of 17 secondary schools. And finally, we turn our attention to news out of Brazil. The Carter Center said on Tuesday that Brazil's presidential election was marked by a proliferation of sophisticated disinformation attacking the voting system and then questioning the impartiality of the National Electoral Authority. The US-based nonprofit group of international election observation since the 1980s said that both the winning leftist candidate Luis Lula da Silva and far-right President Jair Bolsonaro were targets of disinformation. However, our analysis of the leading fact-checking organization indicates that most attacks targeted the Lula campaign. It said in a statement wrapping up the mission on observing the Brazilian election. The Carter Center sent a mission of experts to the South American country at the invitation of the Electoral Authority, the Superior Electoral Court, or TSE, which invited a record number of foreign observers as a way to tackle repeated criticism by Bolsonaro of the electronic voting system. Bolsonaro has argued without evidence that the system is vulnerable to fraud, and in the weeks prior to runoff vote, stepped up his attacks on electoral officials. Until the first round of vote on October 2nd, the dominant disinformation narrative centered around flaws of the voting system, the group said, adding that the court provided an extensive set of audit procedures to address the claims. In the second round of election, the focus shifted to questioning the impartiality of the TSE, the Carter Center said. The TSE also investigates misinformation production and distribution, as well as their financing mechanism. In the final weeks of the campaign, the court decided to expand its ability to rapidly remove content from social media platforms, a move the Carter Center said raised concern about interference with the fundamental rights. Lula, a former president, narrowly won the runoff by 50.9% against 49.1% for Bolsonaro in Brazil's most divisive election in decades. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'm TIANA.